The Gooner Talk back in with you guys for another show, for another episode of our season previews, now reviewing games. This is really quite strange considering it's been so long since we've played a really, I say competitive. It felt competitive watching it, but of course we know it's a pre-season friendly. But we are going to talk about the game. We're going to look forward to talking about transfers as well. And of course, we'll look forward to the Newcastle game. But I'm joined by three wonderful people on our new system, of which you can see everyone at the same time. We can see everyone in the chat. We can see people are moaning, saying that we were going live late. You can blame Wayne for that. And Wayne, while you're there, mate, how are you doing?
Yeah, this new system caught me off guard here a little bit. So it's all good. Just finished watching the game there and all that type of jazz. So yeah, everything is good. So hopefully this works out. But we'll have a bit of visual the next time for your viewing pleasure.
Yeah, hopefully we'll see Wayne next time. He's pulling a Drew, as we're going to call it today.
I will. I'll have it next time. It's just downloading in the background.
Yeah, of course. Ola, good to have you back, mate, on for the first show of the season. Ola, mate. He's gone. He's had enough. He's already fallen away. Webby, you're going to have to take over, fella. How you doing, mate?
It's unusual for me to be the most reliable person on the channel.
I know. What's going on?
He's back now.
He's back now.
What's going on here?
That's fine, mate. Webby, let's stick with you because I don't trust.
But good evening. I'm here. I'm here.
It's I don't know if is it good to be back after watching that. I don't know. It's good to be back chatting with you boys, and the new system seems pretty slick. Although I couldn't get on it with my other laptop because I didn't have Google Chrome and my.
It's not all about you, mate. It's not all about you.
It's in my world, to be fair. But yeah, no, good to be back, lads. So good to be talking about the Arsenal.
Good stuff. And Ola, now you're here. Yes, definitely there. Not ghosting on us. Oh, for goodness sake.
I can hear you better now.
Oh,
no, man.
You are there for us. I don't know, mate. I don't know. Right, we're here. Basically, you're about as here as Mustafi was for the last 5 minutes of that game. So let's talk about. Obviously, we've just watched Barcelona 2, Arsenal 1. A game which obviously looked at first very daunting, but the first half I thought was fantastic from the Gunners. And second half, we sort of reverted back and they realised who they were for a second and played like we know they can. So, Wayne, we'll go back to you, fella. Thoughts on Arsenal 1, Barcelona 2?
As you actually said there, the first half was great, but obviously it was a different lineup in the first half. But I thought they were really brave, on the ball, and it just they didn't look as if they played with much fear, which was great because Mustafi wasn't on the pitch, so that obviously made a big difference in those type of that mentality. So they could play without fear without him on the pitch. And I'm joking aside, I'm only messing, but joking aside, they just looked as if they were very comfortable. They enjoyed a whole load of possession, which was nice to see. But second half was it wasn't the same. Maybe it was just because it was more or less like you're changing the whole side around. There's no real cohesion anymore, and it just doesn't look as if it's the same team whatsoever. So maybe hopefully like Emery learned a little bit from the game. Even though it was more or less just a fitness exercise, but hopefully he learned a bit from it that like you can't bring Mustafi onto a pitch at all ever. That would be what I would hope he'd take out of it. But there was some nice moments. Saka got a lovely run. He looked lively against top opposition as well. In fairness, Martinelli looked good. I think this guy's going to have a serious future. Once he finds out where the net is, first 3 or 4 times, he's gonna get a lot of goals. But all in all, I think it was a good fitness exercise, a bit of a wake-up call as well. And I'm sort of glad that we fucked up in defence because going this close to the end, going this close, you don't want to be going into the season him thinking, oh, we did all right out there in the new camp, so you'd rather just see it for what it is and bring on the dummy at the end, and then this is the reality. This is what we're stuck with. So get out into the market in the last 6 days, sort the fucking lot out, and then we go into the season. We've something to fucking cheer for then, because that fella comes on and plays. Forget about it. Good luck.
Definitely so, mate. Webby, what was your key highlight from today's game?
Mustafi coming on.
Mustafi coming on was the highlight.
No, key highlight. I mean, in the group chat that I'm privileged to be in, a few people was starting to lay on to Ozil and question his ability again, and then he pulls out an assist, and what a finish! What a brilliant finish by Aubameyang. So I mean that was the highlight for me, but the true highlight was the goal from at the end there for Suarez. I mean that just kind of sums us up at the moment, and I really don't. I come on. I booted up the computer and I was like, I don't want to be negative. I don't want to be negative, but it's so hard. It's so hard.
There he is.
It's excruciating. I can't deal with it any longer. I don't think I can go another season with that man on the pitch. And I hate to be just one of those, another fan which is digging him out, because, you know, we can bring up stats to show that, you know, he's got good attributes here and there, and a few people might want to defend him. But and even there, I'm reading the comments, you know, saying it was Chambers' mistake. To be fair, I think it was a mix-up of both of them. But that being said, it didn't happen all the time that Mustafi wasn't on the pitch. So what can I say?
That's true as well.
Frustrating.
I just think when the memes are just there now, aren't they? Just to say that Mustafi comes on, we lose. And it's so irritating that it happens, because it means that people can then just very simply say that. But actually analysing the goal, Ola, I'll come to you, which obviously lost us the game. I know we've skipped way ahead to the 90th minute in the match, and there's a whole lot we've still got to talk about. But there's key areas that we know that we need to strengthen. And we brought in Pepe, we've brought in Ceballos, we're looking to bring in Tierney. But the centre-back role has been the key area for us all summer that we've needed to strengthen in. Why is it? Do you think the club have just failed to do so far?
I mean, we can all see the meme. We can all see what said about Arsenal. To the front, forward, we can score goals. It's really about keeping the ball out of the back of the net, and we haven't been able to do so. It's been a consistent problem now over the last God knows how many seasons. I'd say I'll go back as far back as 8 seasons. You know, that we've not really sorted out the defense, and I can understand that when certain players become available, you can't ignore them being available. It's almost like when United decided to sign Alexis Sanchez. They became available, even though City was probably a viable situation for him to go to. They just said, listen, a player like Alexis can't become available, and they not go through. So when we have this type of players, Ceballos, Pepe, and all these guys go available, these are type of players that we're not even used to competing for in the first place. And we're about to compete and ward off several opponents to get a signature. So the problem now is getting the defense sorted out, getting the right type of defense as well that would suit the team. And the market's kind of defense, but there's no reason why we shouldn't be moving heaven and earth to try and dislodge
heaven and earth?
One or two.
I'm sure you did.
Something like that. I was close. You heard it. So, you know, there's no reason why we should do everything we can, you know, to try and get defenders from, and I mean quality defenders, because defenders that wouldn't improve what we already got. It's pointless going to spend money on them. So I know people are looking at it and saying anything is better than what we've got right now, but I don't believe that. There's you know, we could go and get certain defenders, and they might not fit our style. They might not cope with the pressure of the Premier League. So it's still got to be the right kind of defenders that's going to be able to cope with what we've got going on in the Premier League. We know how difficult the Premier League is. Yeah. So in my eyes, you know, we need to at least try and get defenders. If it were up to me, I'll get defenders from the Premier League, from, you know, couple of teams that we know are very, very good about their defensive duties, and when Arsenal come knocking your door, it's a different kind of knock.
Yeah.
And there's no reason why, they can't go and try and dislodge people like Shane Duffy, who have been preaching about this guy for the longest. I like him a lot. He's a very, very imposing centre back. His partner Dunk, there's been a lot that's been said about him. Burnley, the very, very defensive side as well. We know how they go about their defensive disciplines, and they're already used to the Premier League. So there's a couple of players that we could go and try and turn their heads, if you like, and bring them to the Arsenal. I definitely hope we do something about it in this window, at least one or two.
Yeah, it has to be at least one, mate. Wayne, then, talking about and discussing the reason why we conceded our first goal was obviously we're going sort of in reverse order here. Ainsley Maitland-Niles communication error with Leno, which obviously led then to an own goal of classic Arsenal proportions, it seems. Who do you blame for it, and do you think it's anything to worry about moving forwards? And how do you actually rate Ainsley's performance?
I actually thought in the first half, I thought Ainsley Maitland-Niles was actually excellent. He was really good, but maybe it was just a symptom of like it was a result of the team that was on the pitch at the time, like the difference in personnel. Maybe it suited him, the whole system suited him better. But in terms of defending and doing his job right, he just looked very assured in the first half, looked nice and calm. Completely different player in the second half. One mistake led to another mistake, which led to another one. He just completely lost confidence, and he just lost his marbles a little bit, like, if you want to. And then I think the goal that he conceded was he was completely, his concentration was completely gone from a few of the mistakes that he had made. Like, there were some horrible mistakes where he's trying to dribble the ball out from 2 yards out, like on his line, and just getting away with it, like somebody else bailing him out. Like, but I really didn't know what the fuck he was thinking in the second half after he made those mistakes, and that's a worrying thing. Like, so maybe is he a confidence player? A bit of confidence behind him and 30 or 40 minutes of decent football, but one mistake is all it took from night to night to absolutely fall to pieces. Like, and I think the goal was a result of that. I think he was just, I'd say if he was a little bit more assured, a little bit more confident, if that had happened in the first half, he would have reacted a little bit differently. He might have just left it to the keeper. He could have just shuttled the striker away from where the ball was and let the keeper take it. But I think his mind was gone from all the mistakes he'd made in the second half, that he just didn't think, and he decided to just instinctively just drop it back to the keeper by not even looking. I don't even think he was looking. He should have put it in the fucking Rose Ed, to be fair. But if he was gonna go down that road, stick it in Rose Ed. But he didn't think. Like, I just don't know where his brain was at, and that was worrying for me.
The lack of brains from a lot of our players at the back today really concerned me in the second half. First half, I thought we were strong. We were making good decisions. There was even good interplay at the back. We were calm, playing it out from defence. The reason why we scored our goals from a good counter-attack, and we had made chances from counter-attacks all game. But the amount of times that we played ourselves into trouble in our own, not even box, but 6-yard area, the amount of times that we were playing loose passes, leaving opposition available to close us down, putting ourselves under more pressure than we needed to. And they're mistakes that you can't do in the Premier League when it's going to cost you points. And I'm not even talking about against the top 6. Other teams in the league now are improving at a rate which is higher than we've ever seen before. You're seeing with Leicester, West Ham and Wolves being the main ones. But even you look at Newcastle, who are playing on the first game of the season. We're going to talk about Newcastle a little bit later on. But they bring in St. Maximin. They bring in Joliton from Hoffenheim. And these are guys of really, really good quality, and they will punish you if you give them the opportunity to. So we can't be making those mistakes. Webby, then, I want to focus on one specific player for you who has really impressed me, not just today, but across the whole of pre-season, who I think is arguably the most likely youngster to break into the team as soon as possible. And for me, that's Joe Willock. What has been your opinion of the youngster?
Exactly the same. I think he's got a really good future with Arsenal. I think he's got he's got a great footballing brain, and he impresses me every time I've seen him. He impresses me more and more. He can really. He's got great talent on the ball, and he's just great all round. Really, he's an all round ball player. And I think I spotted him do a couple of decent key passes today again. And in pre-season, I've seen him do it a few times. I think he's going to get a bag full of assists and goals this season. Hopefully, if he can get time on the pitch.
I just think with someone like Willock, it's someone that we desperately need to be really careful with. Whilst we're bigging him up at the moment and he's had a fantastic preseason, I don't want to see what we did with Webby and basically run this guy into the ground. The fact that he was being overplayed, I feel, by Arsene Wenger meant that when he was making all these mistakes consistently, meant that he's now got that opinion of himself in a lot of the fans' minds. And it's a very, very tough sort of image to shift once you've got that opinion of yourself by a lot of fans. And Webby's still going to have to do a lot to try and shift that opinion of him and that stigma that he's got. I don't want that to happen to Joe Willock because I think we've got a really exciting youngster moving forward, something that we really could sort of harness. And when Ceballos obviously leaves at the end, we've lost Aaron Ramsey. This is the perfect player to come in. Webby, you look like you're on the edge of your seat to say something.
Yeah. I just wanted to finish that off. The thing is with that, Tom, though, is we're not under Wenger anymore, and under the new regime.
I hate that you can't say Wenger anymore as much. That's my favourite.
I just expect these youth players to be coming through the system differently. Hopefully, there's a different structure, which means that the guy will progress through his career. Hopefully more successfully than some of our other younger players. Webby, I don't think will ever make it at Arsenal I mean, he has made it at Arsenal. I just don't think that his future will remain here for much longer. I'm not a big fan. I was at the beginning of last season. I really thought he turned it around, and he just petered out really quickly after like 10 games. He went back to the old Webby for me. So I'm really hoping that Willock, carves a fantastic future at the club and just continues to progress week on week. Just going back a step, because I am opinionated on it. And I'm gutted you didn't ask me about it.
I'm such a bad host, so I apologise.
the goal from Mo, I'm not so sure. And I know that a lot of people watching this won't agree with me, and that's fine. But I think it's a bit more 50-50 blame. We don't know what was said on the pitch. We don't know if there was a call from Leno on that. So we're kind of we're just judging it on what we can see. But Niles didn't look up. That was his problem. He did a blind pass, assuming and with a presumption that the keeper was where he thought he should be. And if you look at where the pass went, I think that Leno should have been on that line as well. So I'm a little bit more critical of Leno on this. Leno didn't actually do anything wrong, as in the fact that he did the right thing at coming out. That's fine, but he come out at a really weird angle. He come really wide, and it left the whole goal open. So if not, Niles did a blind pass at the centre of the goal. Now, even if Leno was coming out for it, he should have been in the vicinity to be able to pick that pass up. I mean, he was so wide, it just left a gaping hole. So I was really disappointed with the goal, and I see people messaging with not a lot of love for Niles. I'm actually a bit of a fan. I think with the right coaching, he can be a really good player for us. And maybe it's just blind hope or passion, but I think that Maitland-Niles has got some key attributes to be a decent player. I hope he doesn't fall off a cliff. That's the only thing.
Yeah. I think that actually people say they've been continuously saying he needs to play centre midfield. I think the more he plays at right back and more he plays in that position, he's actually getting quite good. I mean, you take that own goal away, I thought he was really, really good today. I thought he had a fantastic game. I thought he was strong. I thought he held off players really well. He anticipated the ball well. His interplay was good at the back with the centre-back and the right centre midfielder. I think that he did everything right on the pitch. I just think there was that one lapse in concentration from both him and Leno. I think Leno does have some degree of fault. I agree with you on that sense. I still would blame Ainsley a bit more than you will. But obviously there is a lack of communication, but it's better that they make those mistakes now. You learn from them in the future. Leno knows for the future sense as well. So I think we can move past from that mistake. If we then go all the way back to the beginning, because we've gone in reverse order, to the goal that we scored, obviously it was a really fantastic goal. Mesut Ozil for me has been one of the standout performers of pre-season, which will divide plenty of opinions because I know people wanted to see him move on this summer, but we knew pretty much right at the start of summer that wasn't going to happen. But it's good to see he's stepped up this preseason. He's been playing well. He's been energetic, which is something that you don't really associate with Mesut Ozil too much. There were still instances in phases of play where we saw him walking today, but that is characteristic of him. But he's been energetic. The pass he played to Alba for the goal was fantastic. So break down for me that goal and both players who were involved in it and how you see them performing next season. Ola. Are you muted, mate? You are. You're muted. I'll unmute you for you. There you go. There you go. I can hear you now. You have had a mare. You've had a proper Mustafi of a show so far. We still can't hear you.
Just call him Mustafi from now on.
I'm going to call him Mustafi.
A nightmare.
I've unmuted you, mate. I think what's happened is I unmute you and then you mute yourself again.
Right.
Talk now,
I went to unmute.
You did. Go on, mate. Go for it.
So I mean, when you look at the whole situation with what we've got going on and going forward, what we really need to do now is get with the 4 days we got left. The 4 days we got left is really, really important that we get some business over the line, because I guarantee you now, looking forward into the game that we've got coming up, they're going to be ready for us. They know what we're like, and I was at that game last season, Newcastle, and to me, I still feel that their new signing, the guy that they've just brought in, what's his name? Joelinton.
Joelinton. Yeah. Joelinton.
Yeah. I feel like, with the defense we got, we're gonna give him an easy go, and it's ever so easy to get at us right now, and I'm still worried. I mean, we're good going forward, but it's with Arsenal, like I said offline earlier on before you came onto the show, we have a way of snatching defeat from the jaws of victory, and it's something we're really, really good at. For me, I don't see another way unless we fix the defense going forward. It's so imperative, so imperative. I mean, all the other positions in the team, I see bright sparks with people like Saka, people like Willock. He looked really, really good today. Maitland-Niles obviously is not a right back, so to me, we went with Mounier earlier on in the window. So I don't know whether we should still pursue something in that position until Hector gets back. But on the whole, we just have to pray and hope, and look. Well, I'm still looking forward to the new season, but it's all about praying and hoping. I'm just praying and hoping right now.
Before we go on to talk about Newcastle in a little bit more detail, Wayne, I want to talk about transfers first. Of course, Ola's highlighted there the areas that you think we need to strengthen. Centre-back's definitely an area that we do. Do you expect to see any business over the next week, and how disappointed are you going to be if you don't see anyone else brought in?
Well, I fully expect to see business in the next 3 days. This guy Raul Sanelli, Sanlehi, is it?
Raul Sanelli.
Sanelli.
Something like it's not a very Spanish name, is it? It doesn't.
It's
even
a funny
though he's
spelling.
Spanish.
Yeah. It's open to different pronunciations from different people or whatever. But anyway,
the amount of times I get corrected on Aubameyang or Aubameyang or Aubameyang or whatever. So roll with whatever you like.
Okay, we'll just call him Raul for now, right? But let's just he's a serious player. This guy, like the camera, he was sitting with Bartomeu, the Barcelona president, there tonight. Like, this guy has connections everywhere, and for sure, you can bet your bottom dollar he knows exactly where we need to improve. And look, everybody knows that we're in the market. The dog in the street knows we're in the market for a couple of players. Obviously, Tierney it's a bit ropey because of his injury, but I don't know exactly who knows the perfect situation there.
If he's out for 8 weeks, does that put you off him?
No, not at all. Because if he comes back in 8 weeks' time, we could get away with 8 weeks worth of half decent results, and then we have Tierney, and it's like a new signing. But like you'd want to be getting in a centre half, and the rumours are around that they're strongly in the market for a centre half, and I do believe that they will get it done because they've got their shit done this summer. And I think there'll be about 2 or 3 to go this week alone. So hopefully, if I get a couple of lads off the wage book, which obviously makes a big difference because that's what's holding us back a little bit as well. So if we can get rid of a couple of people, and I know Koscielny is a sticky point for a lot of people who are, they'd be fairly emotional over the fact that he said he didn't want to play for the club. I don't know exactly what's going on there, so I'm going to hold fire on it. But all I will say is that if it comes down to a choice between Mustafi and Koscielny, I don't give a fuck if Koscielny murdered somebody. He's going to play in that team ahead of Mustafi. He's much more of an asset, and we got to get that. I don't think Mustafi's even going to go this week, to be honest with you. We're going to be stuck with him. But I'd rather have Koscielny still hanging around. We might get one more season out of him, just until, even 6 months, just until we get our shit together on the market. We find somebody who's going to come in and take over his spot full time. Obviously Saliba is coming in next year, which is another thing to look forward to. But I do think that probably we're going to see maybe 2 coming in this week and maybe 3 going out. That's my guess. So you can stick that where you want on September, whatever, when the market closes, whatever. But I think that's what's going to happen this year. And in years gone by, we all sit here, we all know that we can all sit there and speculate and say, oh, we might get 2 in. We all want 2 in and 3 out, but it genuinely is probably going to happen because these boys don't fuck about. It looks as if it's a busy time for us. So hopefully we get we get it done. Give us something to cheer about going into the first few days of the season anyway.
Yeah, I think it's going to be really. I think that this week ultimately will define where we want to place ourselves.
100%.
If we're serious about being a team that wants to be challenging the top 6 every single time we play them, then we're going to go out and sign a centre back. If we're going to be a team that's just basically fighting for the same sort of things we did last season, just scraping a fight for top 4 or getting to the Europa League final, then maybe we won't get someone in. I think if we get Kieran Tierney in, obviously, even with his injuries, I've been really impressed with Kolasinac, to be honest. And for him and Tierney not to be playing, I'm happy with Kolasinac being there. And even Monreal had a good first half.
If you're happy with Kolasinac, wait till you see Tierney full time, Tom. Yeah, it's a different level.
Yeah. And I can't. And if he does come in, I'll be absolutely buzzing for it, and I can't wait to see it happen. It's just a case of hopefully seeing it happen and then coming to fruition. But I'm genuinely, I am happy to see whilst Tierney is out, Kolasinac come in. That is fine for me. I think he's had a good season. But if we're serious about competing, and ultimately we want to get to the stage where we're getting to that stage where we're title challengers and we're up there with Liverpool and Manchester City. It seems like miles away, and I'm very well aware of that, and I'm not naive enough to think that we're not miles away from that. But at the end of the day, if we want to be up there, we have to sign players and improve the positions that we're lacking in. And we've done that with Saliba, but it's for next season. But we need someone who's going to partner him in the long term and rotate with quality. Because I know Holding is here, but he's got his injury issues, and we need someone who's going to come. We need to be ruthless with our players, and it's as simple as that. Webby then, mate, thinking about other different positions, of course. I haven't got to chat to you much about some we've already made. He didn't get to play today, but quite simply, how excited are you to see Nicolas Pepe play on Sunday?
So gutted he didn't play today. I was so gutted. I must have been the only Arsenal fan on the planet that didn't realise that he didn't travel.
Everyone else is like scrolling Twitter. Where's the squad?
I was like, which one of these is Pepe then? I can't see him. and then one time I messaged you boys going, where's Pepe? And he didn't travel and sort of phoned a controller across the room.
You've been that guy on every Arsenal tweet putting announced Pepe on every single.
Yeah, I'm preoccupied, obviously. But I'm so excited. I think it's a real sign of intent from the club to break their transfer record in signing this guy. Come out of nowhere. it really rubbed some salt into the wounds of our opposition that were all after him. Loads of clubs were after him. His stats for last year are phenomenal. He's got all the right attributes to be a fantastic winner, a success at Arsenal, to support us moving, like attacking with the ball. I'm not sure about his defensive sort of skill set and whether he can really help us in that half of the pitch. But you know, I'm just absolutely really made up with the fact that we've got him. I think the real question is what you just asked, the previous question, which is, you know, are we gonna get anyone else in defence? Because there is no doubt about it that we've got a serious attacking outfit. From the midfield going forward, we're up there with the best of them, without a shadow of a doubt. And especially if they start clicking, you know, let's be honest, some of these attacking players that we've got, they're still relatively new to the club. And when I say relatively new, within a couple of years. And so these relationships between the players, like attacking players, and their connection between each other will only get better. So they'll just get stronger and stronger and stronger. And so you add Pepe into the mix, and suddenly, you know, we could be mesmerising going forward. But if we can't defend to save our lives, then, you know, it's just going to be the same old season, it'd be devastating to see us fail. You know, it's like going back to Kevin Keegan days. Oh, we'll just score more goals than the opposition. Them days are gone. It doesn't exist anymore. You just can't. You know, City have proven that. You know, that they failed in the Champions League so many times because they got, you know, they're great going forward and they let in these stupid goals at the back. And I just think that that's a bad example, actually, because obviously City have won the league all them times. But I just see, I keep on seeing the same mistakes from the club. Cruyff turns in the box, like defenders passing 2-yard passes, trying to do little triangles round the opposition strikers in the box. We just need to get clear. How many times have we been screaming at the TV, just clear the ball? I don't understand why we've still got this kind of mentality where we just want to play our way out of danger all the time. Yeah. And it's going to catch us time and time again. So, yeah, sorry, mate. I keep on coming off questions. Pepe, brilliant, fantastic. We're going to win the league, Champions League.
Yeah, I think a lot of fans did get a little bit disappointed to not see him travel. I think it's clear to know why. Obviously, he came back late because of playing in the African Cup of Nations. He's only just been integrated into the team. It would have been great to see him play. Obviously, we know that. But possibly there's an element that we could look at it saying that Newcastle have got a lot of time to prepare for this game, like we've got a lot of time to prepare for the game against Newcastle. And maybe showing our hand with what Pepe's like in the Arsenal side, we're giving them a slight advantage. So maybe he's keeping cards close to his chest. I think it more leans onto the side of being basically we're trying to hold him on because he might not be integrated and match fit yet from being back from obviously his summer break. But who knows? I think we will see him play against Newcastle. And as I'm sure everyone else, we can't wait for that. But we're just going to have to be that little bit more patient. So speaking of Newcastle then, while we wrap up this last couple of questions for you before we go into some user questions. Ola, mate, you're back. You're ready. You're here, I'm assuming.
Yeah, I couldn't hear nothing earlier on.
I wondered why I asked you a question. You came up with a completely random answer for it.
So I didn't hear a thing. The whole thing was so jumpy that I couldn't hear a thing. Apologies.
Thoughts on Newcastle, mate?
I was having a hair. I couldn't hear a goddamn thing. But I'm back now. So
thoughts on Newcastle?
I'm ready for your question.
Can you hear me? Because I'm asking you.
What?
Newcastle, mate. Newcastle.
He's jumping. He's jumping.
Newcastle.
Oh,
Newcastle.
Someone message it. So come
Newcastle. Okay. Yeah. It's obviously, you know what we're like with our first games of the season. We've not been really great with first games of the season. I mean, back now to City last season, lost it. Villa, West Ham. We all remember all those games that we were named to win front of. We could all feel optimistic going into it because of the forwards we've got, but I'm not so optimistic just because of our record on our very first day of the season. So as much as I want to be happy about it, I'm not entirely optimistic. I still think we'll get the job done. There's no, as an Arsenal fan, you want your team to win. It doesn't matter. You could lose 10 opening days of the season, and the 11th one, you will still think you're going to win it. And that's my expectation. But at the same time, just looking at the record, you don't know. But Newcastle they're in their own turmoil. They've got their own problems at the moment. They got stuff that they're dealing with at the moment, and maybe we should be looking to capitalize on that. I feel like the first game of the season, the fixture we've got has been generous to us. It could be worse, like what we had last season. So I'm looking forward to it. I'm just glad the season is back. It's been a crazy summer. I'm looking. I still think, obviously, like I said earlier on, we got to get a lot done. There's still a lot of work to be done in the 4 days that we have left in the window, and hopefully we're able to move. We're able to do some business, move some people out, get some people in before then. But I think Matt Ritchie, which is one of the very, very dangerous players, is injured at the moment. I saw him go off with a hamstring about a week ago. So that's one dangerous player that they don't have in their rank. Jose Perez is already left. He's gone to Leicester. It's another one of the very, very good players. But they've brought in 1 or 2 people as well. So ultimately we have to go out there and get our job done and hopefully secure the points. There's no reason why we can't if we fix our defense before going into the first game of the season.
Yeah, 100%, mate. Right, let's have a quick fire question round. Webby, I'll start with you, mate, and then I'll go to Wayne. Very quick, so we can get through as many of these as possible. D40 D Gaming says, will Martinelli have an impact this season?
Not a massive impact, I don't think. I don't.
That's brave. I think that's brave.
I don't know. I want to say yes. I'm just speaking. My gut feeling is I'm not sure if it will have a massive impact. Let's hope I'm wrong.
Wayne Vesley says, would you rather have Guendouzi or Xhaka in the starting lineup?
I suppose it depends who's around him. I guess I see more Guendouzi as a 6 than an 8. You know, that kind of way myself. Like kind of a deep line lad, but but he has the ability. Like I know, like picking the line, pick and pass between the lines is something that we all kind of overuse as a kind of a barometer for judging. A deep line midfielder is that should be the only quality they have. Like, not really. You have to have a lot more qualities in the back pocket to be able to be a good 6. You have to be positionally aware, which means that you're snuffing out danger before it happens, so you're in the right positions to cut out problems rather than having to make the last ditch tackles. Someone like Torreira, if you could get a Guendouzi and a Torreira hybrid, it'd be brilliant. But Guendouzi is young, so you'd hope that he has, he's able to, fix up his kind of defensive frailties. Like, his positions is my issues with him, and I certainly don't want the likes of Guendouzi in the side if we have, say, a weak back line. You'd want to be putting Torreira in there alongside Xhaka, I suppose. Just in, Guendouzi is probably better for the home games when you're attacking teams like Burnley's and Newcastle's at home rather than away games where you need to be very secure in possession when you're coming out with the ball. So if it was for me, I probably would have Xhaka in there just for now, but I do see a bit of a very high ceiling for Guendouzi going forward. But you'd have to see what sort of improvements he makes in his own defensive positional game, which is something that's not quite there at the moment.
Good stuff. No, a classic quick fire answer from Wayne there. Henry Oakland says, who should be our captain, or is it irrelevant?
at this point, we're choosing 5 captains, so it's kind of irrelevant right now. It's so hard to see leadership quality in the team, and I mean maybe Socrates. These are the guys that, to me, they've demonstrated fighting spirit and they never say never die attitude during a game, and these are what I look for from a captain. When it gets sticky on the pitch, you need somebody to rise up and drag the team through adversity, and we haven't got a lot of those guys in the team at the moment. So I mean, Aubameyang could probably do it, but it's a quiet one. He laughs at everything. They said they're going to sell Mustafi for the other day to Monaco, and he's liking tweets where he's laughing about it. He doesn't take life so seriously. So to me, he's more Lacazette or Socrates. But Emery is going to choose 5 captains anyways. So irrelevant.
Just gonna throw something up on the screen for you to see quickly, just so you've got a definition of what quick fire means.
I was just going to type it in the box, but I thought I'd piss everyone off if I did.
That's fine. I love their enthusiasm.
From Wayne.
To be fair, I've got the two lads on here who've got their perfect amount of quickfire questions. Karen Russell Webby says, can you ask the whole panel how many goals combined do you think will score with Pepe, Laka and Oba?
45.
Good, perfect. Well, Wayne, Mr. Arsenal podcast says, what centre-back would you want us to sign before Thursday? And what are your thoughts on KT, Kieran Tierney, of course?
Oh, well, I'm doing this podcast a long time with you, Tom, and you would have heard me.
It feels like it, mate. It feels like it.
Well, you would have heard me calling for Kieran Tierney about 2 years ago, So it's something that I have wanted to happen for a long time with Tierney. He's a brilliant player. Centre halves, we kind of lost the market a little bit with centre halves because of our failure to qualify for Champions League, so it kind of limits us a little bit. I don't really know. I don't know what's available. If I was going to ask for a centre half, I'd ask for Titi, but I don't know what. I don't really know who we could possibly get. The kind of way. So I'm just going to leave it to them and see what happens. That's all I can do.
Right. Ola, a question from the Gooners podcast. Never heard of them before. It says, please list out the entirety of what Ola drank prior to this podcast, and also what temperature do I keep my conservatory at?
Shut up, Mike. How's the come over, Mike?
Oh, he's getting personal.
No, I've not had a drop tonight, so it's just the audio. I couldn't hear nothing. That's why I winged that question.
Serious question from Sticks. He says, what's your score prediction for Newcastle?
2-1 Arsenal.
2-1 Arsenal. Good stuff. Now, you're answering quick enough, I can now find questions. Wayne, a question from Pete Rant. He says, Albert on the left, or do you think he should stay as a striker? Wayne.
Oh, sorry, Tom. I had myself on mute there.
That's right. That's a classic podcast error.
Oh, Jesus, no, 100% down the middle. Did you see his goal tonight? Forget about it. Straight down the middle. That's it.
So who plays left then, out of interest? Who goes left?
I suppose you could have Lacazette, or you could invert Pepe. The classic Pires cutting in onto his right. Pepe is left-footed, isn't he?
Yeah, he is. Yeah. He didn't. When I did the breakdown on him, he didn't play a single minute last season on the left wing, which is why. And actually, when you look at the stats, and I'm sure because all of you obviously watched my tactical breakdown on it. When you look at Alba's stats from the right wing, he actually has more dominant and goal scoring stats than anywhere, even in the middle. Like his goal scoring stats, his XG, the amount of shots he takes, the shot accuracy is better when he plays on the right wing, which is intriguing. But obviously,
that's extraordinary.
We're not going to see him play there. We're going to see Pepe play there. But I think we'll probably see the front. I think Alba will be pushed out left, and I think Laka will start centre. I'd rather Alba stay in the middle, and we went with someone like either a Webby or you give Nelson a chance. Nelson seemed bright in pre-season, so or Mkhitaryan can play there, but he doesn't really inspire too many. So it's going to be intriguing who gets that left wing slot. But
that's the good thing about that, Tom, is that like at least we're sitting here for once and we have options that like most of these options we're quite happy with. You know, barring maybe Mkhitaryan because he kind of slows the whole system down a little bit. But I mean, we're sitting here going, finally, we have some world-class options up front. We can chuck players onto different wings. You can put Pepe on the left, put him on the right, Lacazette, take him out, put Ozil in there, Iwobi there, Nelson. There's a lot of little options there that we have going forward. The problem is our defence, that's it. We fixed that, we're good.
I just think that when we're coming to playing this system is that he needs to find his strongest lineup. And if we didn't seem to find that last season, I think that's something that we need to get into our heads. What is the strongest lineup we have? We could do a whole podcast on that. But I'm conscious of the time. We're starting to wrap up now. So a couple more questions, and then we're going to go. Webby, question that comes in from Efi. He says, what's our formation for the new season? And what formation gives the defensive solidity that we need?
10 at the back is the only thing that gives us any defensive stability. So I think is it 3? I don't know how they play it, but it's with the two wingers. So where we've got Bellerin and Monreal playing really high up. So is that classed as a 5?
I say 5 because they're defenders by trade, but a lot of people say 3, 5, 2.
2-1, yeah. What we played last year is basically I'm happy with that formation, and if we get Tierney, then on the left wing we'll get so many goals down the wing, and he's Bellerin's back right now. He's fit again now, right?
He not for he will miss the start of the season. So
right, okay. I mean, as soon as if we get Tierney and we have Bellerin, our wing play will be so strong with Pepe in support up the right, and then Allball, whatever it is. I know we said that Chris on the left will be fantastic. So yeah, that formation.
That's one of the best fullbacks lineups in Europe, in my opinion. Bellerin and Tierney.
Yeah, agreed.
In Europe.
I think that if we can get Tierney over the line, or we can get him playing consistently, then there's no reason why we can't succeed. Why we can't succeed on that wing. It's devastating. It's up there with Alexander-Arnold and Robertson for me. It's just an obvious pairing that makes the most sense overall.
It's 5-2-1-3. PS. Just
5-2-1-3.
5-2-1-3. Yeah, 5 at the back.
Sitting there working it out.
Two CDMs, and then you got like the Ozil, and then the 3 attackers.
Okay, 5-2-1-3. That 5-2-1-3.
That's what we've been playing. It's not.
That's more players than you can have outfield. That's 11 players outfield.
I think we need a 6-4-1-5 or something.
I think it's 5-2-1-2 is what you're going for. I think that's what you mean. But I think that's where we're going to sort of end things off. I think it's a good place to end. We've had ups and downs on this show. It's fair to say. Ola's provided a lot of them for us. So I appreciate that, Ola. Thank you for coming on, mate.
I'm so sorry, guys. So sorry. Technical difficulties. What can I do?
Honestly, mate, I don't know. I really don't know, but I appreciate you coming on, mate. Always a pleasure. Wayne, quick fire question round is your favourite, of course, and you can see why. So thank you for coming on for that.
Tom, you have me down to a T. You do. You have me down to a T.
But, I can do my best, mate. Can I do my best? I appreciate
very good. Appreciate coming on. Appreciate going on, and hopefully we'll be in better form this year now with a few nice results and all that type of shite now for the rest of the season. So we'll see what happens in the next 4 days, and hopefully we all get what we want in the next 4 days off Santa Raul, and away we go.
Yeah, 100%. And finally, Webby, the man who was as visually frustrated as I am throughout the show. Thank you for coming on, pal.
And obviously, just in case anyone said the obvious mistake, 5-2-1-3 was including the goalkeeper.
Oh, so, was it? Yeah.
Everyone
You're getting a lot of stick in the chat. I'm looking.
But
we've got.
You played in your own hands because that's what I meant all along.
We've got a 3-2-2-3. Dan Sumption says we
need an extra player.
5-4-3-2-1. Pushing Dan thinks you mean 5-2-3.
Pushing Dan. See, he knows me well, and that is exactly what I meant.
Martin Sheridan thinks we should also play 5-4-3-2-1. Dan Sumption's gone for a very brave lineup of 1-1-1-1-1-1-1-1-1-1. So, I mean, I don't think you get much width from that personally, but you know,
even if we had the extra player, I'm not sure we'd win the league even with 12 players on the pitch. Unfortunately,
the best one so far, the band that we might actually not concede any goals, is 10-0-0. So that's not too shabby either. We still end up conceding. That's the funny thing. Thank you.
It's been fantastic to be back, and hopefully we can have a chat when we're winning this season more often.
Yeah, 100%, mate. Can't wait to see what this season has in store. I hope you have enjoyed the show. There was over 600 of you watching at some point today, so that's absolutely amazing. Please keep up watching the videos. I appreciate all your comments, read through them, reply to as many as possible. And if you have enjoyed this, please give it a like and please subscribe to the show if you're new. Thank you to everyone in the live chat. Really appreciate it. I've tried to interact with you as much as possible. I hope you're liking the new format and the new software, and you're seeing your comments pop up on the screen throughout the thing. I'm talking like Ola for a second there. But thank you for tuning in. I'll see you again very, very soon, as will the boys. And enjoy the rest of your weekend of whatever little is left. And as always, up the Arsenal.
Thank you very much.
Excellent.